The Strait of Hormuz, the narrowest point, 2:52 p.m. broad daylight. Visibility perfect. The USS Mason, a guided missile destroyer. Her mission escorting an American oil tanker straight through Iranian-controlled waters. A standard freedom of navigation operation. Then suddenly, Iranian radar locks on. 6 anti-ship missile batteries along the coast. Go active. From Bandar Abbas, 12 fast attack crafts swarm the waters. 3 missile corvettes move to intercept, all of them clearly visible in the afternoon sun. Tehran's message was unmistakable. This tanker will not pass. This destroyer will not survive. Iran believed it had prepared the perfect kill box. One American destroyer, caught in the narrowest choke point on Earth, surrounded by shore-based missile batteries, ambush boats closing in, no escape. The Iranian plan was simple: overwhelm the Mason with a simultaneous multi-axis attack, sink her in their territorial waters, capture the survivors, and seize the oil tanker. The ultimate goal: humiliate the United States. But Iran had made 4 catastrophic miscalculations. First, the USS Mason was not alone. 3 U.S. attack submarines were shadowing her from the depths. Second, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group. It was just 60 miles over the horizon. Its 48 Fa-18 Super Hornets ready to launch. Third, every single Iranian missile battery on that coast was already targeted by B-1B Lancers orbiting silently at 40,000 feet. And the fourth fatal mistake, the tanker Iran wanted to seize. It wasn't just carrying oil, it was carrying 12 Marine Force recon operators, hidden waiting below deck. When Iran launched its attack, they thought they were cornering one destroyer. What they didn't know was that they had just triggered the largest American naval response in the Persian Gulf since 1988. What happened in the next 47 minutes would become the single most devastating American counterstrike against Iranian forces in modern history. This is that story. It began in the Strait of Hormuz, at its narrowest point just 21 miles wide. This is the world's most strategic choke point. 20% of the planet's oil passes through here every single day. 30 million barrels, all under the watchful eye of Iran. For decades, they have claimed these waters as their own. They regularly threaten to close the strait, to halt the flow of oil, and strangle the global economy. For years, these were empty threats, until 3 weeks ago. Then suddenly, Iran deployed 6 advanced anti-ship missile batteries, lining their coast, a gauntlet of steel. Chinese C-802 missiles with a range of 120 kilometers, more than capable of sinking a modern warship. On top of that, they surge their naval patrols. Fast attack boats and missile corvettes swarm the waters, making dangerously aggressive maneuvers against American vessels. The United States' response was clear. America would continue its freedom of navigation operations. It would escort its tankers through the strait. The Iranian threats would be ignored. The mission showed Tehran that the strait remains open. A clearer message that international waters stay international. At 10:00 hours, the USS Mason, an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, it received its orders: escort the oil tanker Pacific Endeavor directly through the Strait of Hormuz. The objective: ensure its safe passage and defend against any and all Iranian aggression. Captain Sarah Mitchell, the Mason's commanding officer, knew this mission carried extreme risk. All hands, this is the captain. We are entering the strait at 1100 hours. Intel confirms Iranian activity is elevated. This daylight transit gives them perfect visibility. They will see every move we make. Expect harassment, prepare for worse. Bring all weapon systems to full readiness. This is a combat zone, stay sharp. But there was something Captain Mitchell couldn't tell her crew. Secret intelligence suggested Iran was planning something. The details were thin, but the chatter was undeniable. A possible, coordinated attack on an American vessel. At 1100 hours, the Mason crossed the line. It was in the strait. The massive oil tanker, the Pacific Endeavor, followed just 1 kilometer behind. The sun was high in a clear sky. Both ships were completely exposed. At 12:15 p.m., the game began. Iranian coastal radar lit up the sky. They were painting the Mason, acquiring a target lock, tracking her every move, calculating a kill solution. But they made no secret of it, a fatal mistake. Then the first move, 1:47 p.m. 12 Iranian fast attack boats swarmed from Bandar Abbas. These were the Revolutionary Guard's naval forces. each one armed with deadly anti-ship missiles. They were moving at high speed. They didn't hide. Every movement was watched by satellites above. Their target was the Strait, a clear red flag. At 2:20 p.m., the threat escalated. 3 Iranian missile corvettes, heavier warships with more advanced weapons, had left port. They were moving to an intercept position, and just like the boats, they were being watched. American eyes were in the sky. The trap was being set. 2:35 p.m. On the bridge of the Mason, Captain Mitchell received flash traffic. It was a direct warning from U.S. Central Command. The message was blunt. Intelligence confirms an Iranian attack is imminent. 6 coastal missile batteries are active. 12 attack boats are inbound. 3 corvettes are closing. You are authorized for defensive engagement. A carrier strike group is scrambling to support. Your orders: hold your position. Defend the tanker. Captain Mitchell didn't hesitate. He ordered general quarters. All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. We have inbound Iranian forces. They were on the radar, and they were visible to the naked eye. We are authorized to engage. Weapons free on my command. The USS Mason was one of the most lethal destroyers in the United States Navy. An AEGIS Combat System, SM-2 surface-to-air missiles, Tomahawk cruise missiles, a 127mm deck gun, and the Phalanx close-in weapon system for last-ditch defense. But against 6 missile batteries firing at once, 12 attack boats, and 3 corvettes, even the most advanced warship could be overwhelmed. At 2:52 p.m. it began. The coastal batteries opened fire. 802 anti-ship missiles screamed from their launchers, supersonic, skimming just feet above the waves. Vapor trails scarred the afternoon sky, all of them heading directly for the USS Mason. Then suddenly 12 fast attack boats opened fire. 24 anti-ship missiles screamed from their launchers. Their launch plumes were giant pillars, visible for miles. At the same time, 3 enemy corvettes fired their own weapons. 6 more heavy missiles joined the attack. 38 threats, all inbound. All of them targeting a single American destroyer. They were clear on radar and terrifying to the naked eye. This was the largest anti-ship missile barrage, launched at a United States vessel since the Second World War. Captain Mitchell's voice, cold steel: engage all defensive systems, launch countermeasures. Return fire is authorized. The USS Mason's AEGIS system roared to life. It instantly acquired and tracked all 38 inbound missiles. In microseconds, it calculated intercept solutions for every single one. The response was immediate. SM-2 interceptors launched. Boom, boom, boom. SM-2 missiles tore into the sky. Their white contrails, a stark warning against the blue. Each one guided by radar, each one hunting a target. The first Iranian missile vanished in a ball of fire. A second explosion, then a third, a fourth. But still more were coming. There were too many. They were too fast. The Phalanx CIWS system spun up the last line of defense. 20mm Gatling guns, a wall of lead, firing 4,500 rounds per minute. Missiles disintegrated at point-blank range. Their explosions were brilliant, blinding flashes in the daylight. At 2:54 p.m., shrapnel rained across the deck. But the onslaught was overwhelming. One Iranian missile broke through. It struck the Mason's forward section just above the waterline. A devastating explosion, fire erupted. Thick black smoke poured into the clear sky. There were casualties, then a second missile hit aft. More damage, more casualties. The USS Mason was hurt. She was burning, but she was still fighting. From the Iranian shore, the damage was unmistakable. Damage report, Captain Mitchell demanded. Return fire on those missile batteries. Launch Tomahawks? Now. 8 Tomahawk cruise missiles answered the call, erupting from the Mason's vertical launch cells. Their launch flames burned with vengeance. Even in the clear light of day, each missile was programmed for a single purpose: to strike Iran's coastal missile batteries. The time, 2:59 p.m. 12 Iranian attack boats closed the distance to within 5 kilometers. Machine guns erupted. More missiles streaked from their rails. In the perfect visibility, every move was tracked. The USS Mason's 127mm deck gun came to life. 1, 2, 3 thunderous reports. The first Iranian boat simply vanished. An explosion of fire and debris marked its grave. A second boat exploded. A third was burning fiercely. But 9 boats remained, and they were still pressing the attack. Behind them, 3 Iranian corvettes were closing in for the kill. Just 1 minute earlier, at 2:58 p.m., Captain Mitchell had sent a desperate call to U.S. Central Command. Mason is hit. I repeat, we have been struck by 2 missiles. We are fighting fires. Smoke is visible for miles. Engaged with multiple Iranian vessels and land-based missiles. We need support now. The response came back without hesitation. Air support is inbound. 60 seconds. Hold on, Mason. The cavalry is coming. Now at 2:59 p.m. 8F/A-18 Super Hornets arrived. They screamed low over the Strait of Hormuz, 600 knots punching a hole in the clear blue sky. They were a terrifying sight for everyone below. The pilots took in the chaos in an instant. The USS Mason burning, but still in the fight. Her plume of black smoke was visible from 30 miles away. Iranian boats swarmed her like predators. Missiles filled the air. The order crackled over the radio. All Rhino flights, you are weapons free. Priority targets are the corvettes and attack boats. Keep them off the Mason. 16 AEGIS Harpoon anti-ship missiles dropped from their pylons. These were fire-and-forget weapons guided by active radar. Their smoke trails cut stark white lines against the afternoon sun. The 3 Iranian corvettes detected the incoming threat. They attempted desperate defensive maneuvers. It was too late. Impact. A second impact, then a third. All 3 corvettes were hit almost simultaneously. Massive explosions bloomed into brilliant fireballs against the daylight. The ships broke apart, sinking beneath the waves in minutes. Then the Super Hornets turned their attention to the fast attack boats. 20-millimeter cannon fire ripped through the air. Precision strafing runs executed flawlessly. Tracers burned across the sky, visible even in the bright sun. One by one, Iranian boats exploded, burning, sinking. The column of smoke and fire was a grim landmark visible from the Iranian coast. 9 boats became 6, then 6 became 3. By 3:02 p.m., 3 became 0. But that was just the beginning. The 8 Tomahawks launched by the Mason were now arriving on target Iran's coastal missile batteries. Each carried a GPS-guided 1,000-pound warhead. The strikes were surgical. The impact was absolute. One after another, the warheads found their mark. 6 Iranian missile batteries were erased from the earth, vanished in a series of synchronized explosions. The detonations were so massive they were visible from orbit. Command centers? Obliterated. Radar systems? Annihilated. But the United States wasn't finished. At 3:04 p.m., 2 B-1B Lancer bombers circling at 40,000 feet received their final targeting data. They were armed with 48 JDA-IMPS Joint Direct Attack munitions. The target list for these GPS-guided weapons was extensive. Every key Iranian naval facility within 100 kilometers, command centers, ammunition depots, barracks, radar installations, communications towers. The call came Bone 1 and 2. You are cleared hot. Strike all designated targets. The B-1Bs rolled in their bomb bay swinging open. 24 JDAMs fell from each bomber. 48 weapons in total slicing through the clear afternoon sky, guided by GPS to within 3 meters of their coordinates. Then at 3:06 p.m., every major Iranian Revolutionary Guard naval facility between Bandar Abbas and Jask simply erupted in flames. Command centers were vaporized, ammunition depots cooked off in catastrophic chain reactions. The massive explosions lit up the afternoon sky. Barracks collapsed into dust. Communications towers toppled. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard, Navy's entire operational capability, in the Strait was eliminated in just 4 minutes. But even this overwhelming display was not the end. The most devastating response was still to come. At 3:08 p.m., 3 shadows broke the surface of the sea, 3 American submarines. The USS Toledo and the USS Helena. The USS Alexandria, a Virginia-class attack submarine. For weeks, she had been a ghost in the deep, silent, invisible, waiting. Now her orders were clear, full engagement. Then suddenly she breaches the surface in the afternoon sun. A deliberate, terrifying display for all to see. Her payload, 12 Tomahawk cruise missiles. They erupt from her vertical launch tubes. Their fiery plumes a slash of vengeance against the blue water. The target, Iranian Naval Headquarters in Bandar Abbas. The time, 3:12 p.m. The Revolutionary Guard Navy Headquarters. The very nerve center that had coordinated the fatal ambush. It vanishes, erased in a chain of massive explosions. The smoke cloud, a monument to their mistake, visible from 60 kilometers away. The admiral who ordered the attack dead. His entire command staff dead. By 3:15 p.m., the building was nothing but rubble. But this was only the beginning. 16 FA-18 Super Hornets arrived from the USS Eisenhower. With them, 4 EA-18G Growlers, the masters of electronic warfare. In the clear sky, there was nowhere left to hide. The Growlers get to work blinding every Iranian military radar. Within a 200-kilometer radius, their air defenses were now blind, helpless. The Super Hornets began their systematic destruction, wiping out every last Iranian naval asset. Patrol boats in the harbor, annihilated by precision-guided munitions, every single impact documented by satellite. Storage facilities obliterated, maintenance yards flattened. Fuel depots erupted into massive fireballs, visible for 50 kilometers in the clear light of day. By 3:25 p.m., the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Navy, in the entire Strait of Hormuz region, had ceased to exist as a fighting force. 12 attack boats sunk, 3 corvettes destroyed, 6 coastal missile batteries eliminated. Their naval headquarters was a smoking crater. Every support facility was burning. The devastation was absolute, and it was all documented. But the Americans were not finished. At 3:28 p.m., the USS Pacific Endeavor, a ship that had held back during the battle, now began to move. Then suddenly, the ship came alive. From hidden compartments below deck, 12 United States Marines emerged, in broad daylight, for all to see. They were force recon operators in full combat gear, a covert team embedded on the tanker. They were the insurance policy in case Iran made a fatal mistake. 2 rigid hull inflatable boats hit the water, launched from the Pacific Endeavor. The 12-man team raced towards the Iranian coast, their boats a clear target in the afternoon sun. Their destination, an Iranian Revolutionary Guard coastal observation post, the very facility that had coordinated the missile attack. At 3:35 p.m., the Marines hit the beach, a daylight assault. Doors were breached with explosive charges, flashbangs, precision room clearing. 8 Iranian personnel were captured. All intelligence files were seized, their computer systems neutralized. By 3:39 p.m., the Marines were back on their boats. Extraction complete. The intel was secure. The entire operation happened in plain sight of Iranian observers. By the time they understood, it was too late. At 3:39 p.m., the final hammer fell. The USS Mason, damaged but still in the fight, unleashed her remaining Tomahawks. 8 missiles streaked into the afternoon sky. Their target, the Iranian military command complex in Bandar Abbas. At 3:42 p.m., that complex ceased to exist, a massive fireball visible for miles. By 3:45 p.m., the Battle of Hormuz was over. Every action was conducted in the piercing light of day. Documented, verified, undeniable. The USS Mason damaged but victorious. The Pacific Endeavor untouched. 12 Marines extracted with priceless intelligence. Iran's losses were catastrophic. 12 attack boats sunk. 3 corvettes destroyed. 6 deadly missile batteries eliminated. Their naval headquarters obliterated. 57 facilities destroyed. 320 Iranian casualties. The destruction was absolute. It was all documented, all undeniable. A swift, brutal, and total American victory. Within hours, Tehran scrambled to control the narrative. Their state-run media broadcast a story of victory. They claimed Iranian forces had successfully defended their territorial waters against unprovoked American aggression. The official report, an enemy destroyer heavily damaged and forced to retreat. The outcome, a glorious victory for Iranian forces. It was a complete and utter lie. Because high above spy satellites told the real story, crystal clear daylight photography. American reconnaissance assets had photographed everything. The truth, 12 Iranian boats on the ocean floor, 3 corvettes sunk, 6 missile battery sites obliterated. Their naval headquarters was now a smoking crater, a pile of rubble, 57 separate facilities destroyed. It was all visible, captured in high-resolution daylight imagery. The Pentagon then released selected images to the world, not classified combat footage, well, just the aftermath taken in the perfect light of afternoon. The images showed Iranian corvettes capsized and broken, burning buildings, destroyed radar installations. It was a direct message to Tehran. This is what happens when you attack American vessels. The global reaction was swift and decisive. Iran's reckless attack on a U.S. destroyer had ended in a catastrophic defeat. The Revolutionary Guard Navy was decimated in just 47 minutes. For Tehran, it was a public humiliation. Their meticulously planned ambush had become a devastating American counterstrike. The USS Mason was towed to Bahrain for repairs. Her entire crew survived. The ship returned to service 6 weeks later. For her actions, Captain Sarah Mitchell was awarded the Navy Cross for defending her ship against an overwhelming attack. And the 12 Marines who raided the Iranian observation post, they each received Bronze Stars, the commendation for capturing critical intelligence under combat conditions all in broad daylight. And the intelligence they seized revealed everything. Iran had been planning this ambush for 3 long weeks. They were convinced they could sink an American destroyer. They thought they could capture the tanker and force America to the negotiating table. Instead, they lost 320 personnel, 15 major vessels, 6 missile batteries, their naval headquarters, and their entire regional command structure gone, annihilated in a single afternoon. The strategic consequences were enormous. For years, Iran threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz, to seize control of the global oil supply. They thought it was their ultimate political weapon. Operation Iron Passage proved it was a fantasy. The plan attacked a lone American destroyer, the force everything Iran had in the region. 38 missiles, 12 attack boats, 3 corvettes, 6 coastal batteries, a massive coordinated ambush in broad daylight for the world to see. And every single asset was defeated. The result, the destroyer was damaged, but it survived. But the entire Iranian naval force in the strait, it was obliterated in 47 minutes. The American carrier strike group never even got close. FA-18 from the USS Eisenhower handled everything. The message was undeniable: if America needs to force the strait open, the Iranian Navy cannot stop it. The region watched carefully. The UAE deepened its cooperation with the US Fifth Fleet. Bahrain expanded access to its naval bases. Saudi Arabia requested integrated air defense training. But the most important signal came from the markets. Despite the battle, global oil markets never flinched. Prices barely moved. Why? Because they knew. The markets knew America would keep the strait open. Iran's threats were empty. And Tehran learned the hardest lesson of all. Attacking American warships doesn't close the strait. It gets your Navy destroyed. And the whole world watches it happen. The day began in the harsh light of the sun. The time, 2:52 p.m. The location, the Strait of Hormuz. Broad daylight. With perfect visibility, Iran launched its assault. It was the largest anti-ship missile attack in decades. The target, USS Mason, the Barrage 38 missiles. They were supported by 12 attack boats and 3 corvettes. 6 coastal missile batteries joined the coordinated ambush. Every move was clearly visible in the afternoon sun. Iran believed they could overwhelm and sink the American destroyer. It was their moment to seize a tanker close to the strait and force a humiliating American retreat. It was a fatal miscalculation. The time, 3:39 in the afternoon. Just 47 minutes later, the battle was over. 15 Iranian vessels gone. 6 missile batteries eliminated. Their naval headquarters obliterated. 57 facilities burned to the ground. 320 casualties. All of the destruction completely visible. All of it documented, all in broad daylight. The USS Mason took a hit, but the American task force pushed through, completing its passage. 12 Marines were extracted along with critical enemy intelligence. Iran made a fatal calculation. They tried to close the strait. Instead, they invited their own total destruction, and the entire world watched it unfold. This is the price for attacking American warships. This is the story of Operation Iron Passage. 47 minutes, one single afternoon. For Iran, a catastrophic defeat. For the United States, a total victory. The Strait of Hormuz remains open for business. The U.S. Navy's dominance remains absolute, and Iran stands defeated. Never attack an American destroyer. Because behind every single ship, the entire Fifth Fleet is watching, and they always respond in daylight.